Yeah, I'm one of the guys who has a belt like that. Yeah, I earned it. Yeah, there's a video of me earning it. Yeah, you probably didn't see it because it happened a while ago. Good morning. Just some quick childhood shit real quick. Mean Gene Okerlund passed away this week. Let me start like this. I am a big wrestling fan. I've been a wrestling fan since I was a little kid. Mean Gene Okerlund was a microphone man. Small, short, bald. I put up a picture. And basically, he would be there to interview the wrestlers. That was his main thing. He would be the guy with the microphone in the promo interviews where the wrestlers would shoot back and forth at each other. Saturday mornings, he would do kind of a synopsis of whatever storyline was going on. So since it was my favorite TV show, he would kind of be the guy who caught you up on what was going on and made sure everybody was on the same page. So essentially, if that was my favorite show when I was a little kid, he would be the voice of my favorite stories growing up. So think about like somebody who read stories to you when you were little passing away, and I that's kind of what it feels like. I just think everybody appreciates a really good storyteller, and that's what he was. And he was on TV all the time, and he looked like a little dumpling. He was bald, and he had the horseshoe, right? And he had a little mustache, a little double chin, and he was not your like conventional, oh, yeah, let's definitely put this guy on TV. He looked like a couch a little bit, but he had the most amazing voice, and he was an amazing storyteller, and he did his job really, really well. And I think it really said something for like, if you don't have to be the guy. Like, you didn't have to be Hulk Hogan to have a tremendous impact on people's lives. And I think that is a really like positive, uplifting thing. It sucks that he's gone. It's like if the trolley died on Mr. Rogers, if the trolley was out of commission, that's kind of what it felt like. Feels like. So rest in peace, Mean Gene, brother. And thank you for all of the memories. He was the shit, man. Go back and watch some of his interviews. Go watch the ones from like the 80s. Go watch Mean Gene and Macho Man Randy Savage. Cup of coffee in the big time, yo. Real people talk like that. Also, my uncle talked like that for a long time, and I thought that he was a wrestler, but he wasn't. He was just kind of out of his mind. If you've ever heard somebody say, let me tell you something, Mean Gene, that's who they're talking about. Ooh, I made myself feel like I had to poop.
Come to the Tree Stump Bar and Grill. The entire restaurant, including the kitchen, is made from the exact same tree. We have over 150 square feet of seating for you and your drunk wife.
Since most people look at me like I'm a fucking asshole whenever I talk about wrestling, that was my whole childhood, and I feel like I have to defend my childhood at all times. And then I went on my community tab and on my YouTube page, and I asked you if you ever have to defend anything from your childhood, and you gave me some great responses. Here are some of those responses now. Silverback J says, dude, my wife gives me shit because I still like eating fruit cups and Lunchables. Come on, man, can't give up my snackies. And this whole episode is supposed to be about people not passing judgment, so I'm gonna have to skip this one. Fruit cups disgusted me when I was a little kid, so I feel like I have the right to push back a little bit on that. It's just like weird warm sugar water and pieces of almost fruit floating in weird warm sugar water. Dude, you're an adult now. You have a car, and you can get to Whole Foods, and you could buy regular real fruit. It's not ziplocked in a little cup, but hey, do you? Also, the meat in snackables used to fuck me up a little bit. Ham's not supposed to be there's not supposed to be little silver dollars of ham, little diskettes, but I hope you enjoy it. Drake A. McIntosh, how proper and how fancy is it to include your middle initial in something casual like your YouTube name? That's a strong move. That's a poet move. Esteemed poet Drake A. McIntosh says, just last year I found out that there were people who think Sonic Adventure 2 Battle is a terrible game and not God's greatest gift to mankind. I've never played Sonic 2 Battle. Is that the one with Knuckles? I don't remember anything about that game. I do remember Sonic Spinball. Remember Sonic Spinball? Or no, because it was terrible. I used to go rent Sonic Spinball from fucking Block Bustier. It was a pinball game that just happened to have Sonic the Hedgehog in it. And it made no sense, and I played it for hours until I had to bring it back. And I didn't bring it back, pay the late fee. And late fees are so important to learn about. I made the mistake of getting into juggling, and now I have to try to convince people that it's cool. Good luck, Cade. Juggling is not cool because it feels like you're teasing everyone. Like if somebody's really down to play catch and you start juggling, you're the biggest dick in the room. Just hang around more babies and toddlers because they're fucking obsessed with that shit, right? Moving things, God forbid you get a colorful thing in there in the mix, right? Maybe an appliere, and you're juggling three things. You're taking a bite of the appliere, but you're still going over here. Pretty good. You can make it work. You just can't hang out with adults. I don't know how to pronounce this name. Chia. I'm going to call you Chia. The existence of Dunkaroos. Apparently no one else ate these as a kid, but I remember them being incredible. What? Part of the world are you in where people don't remember Dunkaroos? Dunkaroos were fucked up. They were amazing. And they did give everyone who came in contact with them diabetes, because you can't just give kids funfetti frosting and cookies in the middle of the day and expect them to pay attention for the rest of it. I convinced my parents to get Dunkaroos one time, almost never again after that, because they were like, what did I remember being so desperate and horny for the frosting that I would eat all the cookies and then I would do the with my mouth for in the frosting compartment. Basically, if you've never seen them, picture this is basically the size of a pack of Dunkaroos, and this part would be cookies, and then there would be a little circle bowl of frosting, and the idea was that you dip the little cookies, but if you picture like a Teddygram, they were exactly like Teddygrams, and you dip them in funfetti frosting and you eat them, and then you were expected to do math. Eat a dick. No way. We're having birthdays every day. It tasted like a birthday and lunch. I'm sorry that you have to defend that or describe what that is. Google it, everyone. I would love to know where you're from, where no one knows what the fuck Dunkaroos are. At least you're not still eating them like the first guy with the Lunchables. We gotta have an intervention for that guy. Jordan O'Connell. I hear old people defending casual racism all the time. Does that count? I guess if you were a childhood racist, so hard to really understand what you're doing when you're a childhood racist, though. That just means you have a shitty upbringing. You can't really do much about that. But then if you try to defend it when you're older and you know better, then you're a piece of shit. Laura Beth J, putting the middle initial at the end, says Adam West was and is the best Batman. That's a fun weird flex. When I was a little kid, it was the Michael Keaton Batman and the Jack Nicholson Joker, and I think we had a really good thing going there. And if you close your eyes, you can kind of pretend that Beetlejuice was Batman. And I remember being obsessed with that movie, and it was too dark for me to see at that age, but I still watched it a lot, and then I couldn't get enough. But there weren't Batman movies churning out every year like there were a couple of years ago, so you had to wait a decade until another Batman movie. So I would go to Blockbuster when I was tired of renting Sonic Spinball, and I would go to the Batman section, and I would get the Adam West movies, and I'd be like, fuck yeah, here comes another gritty ass Batman ready to beat up the badass bitches. Put it into the VCR, and it was like a live action cartoon, and the Riddler was like, let me tell you something, and the Penguin was like, I'm just in a suit, I'm just a fat man in a suit. And I remember being incredibly disappointed as they tossed a giant sparkly bomb back and forth. The weapon of choice of supervillains from like 1927 to 1980 was that big circular bomb. It was just a ball. It looked like a medicine ball, or one of those balls that your aunt sits on to get her abs in shape, and it had a wick coming out, and the wick was always Sparkler Town. And then half the movie would be the bad guy tossing the big sparkle bomb back and forth to Batman, and Batman being like, where do I go to make sure that the sparkles don't hit the citizens or whatever? And then they dump it in the water, and it took 3 hours for them to do that. Good luck defending that. I don't agree with you, but I respect it. Carlos says, yeah, awful new metal like Korn and Limp Bizkit and more that I loved, but I realized are terrible. Can I tell you something? We get real close for a second. I loved Limp Bizkit. Yeah, I loved Limp Bizkit. I loved when Fred Durst and Method Man, who has so much spit in his mouth at all times, got together and did All In Together Now. Oh my sweet God. And then the guitarist, Wes Borland, always had those goddamn Hot Topic contact lenses that blacked out his whole eye. And I was like, oh, that guy's different. But in actuality, he just had an extra $15 to burn on some contact lenses. And man, was that a good investment. And he would paint his face like a skeleton, and then they would sing about Nookie, as you do. Take a freeze frame of this and put it next to the Limp Bizkit album cover. Same girl. Chocolate starfish and the hot dog flavored water. If you want to know if our childhood was good or not, get the first Family Values album with fucking Limp Bizkit and Korn
And Rammstein.
and you listen to that. And that was the soundtrack. That's what we heard all the time. It was either that or driving to the mall. Before I had my license, I would drive to the mall with a kid who drove 614 miles an hour listening to Sandstorm. Impossible to be in a makeout party listening to a techno CD. Impossible. We used to listen to the Busta Rhymes CDs at makeout parties. Also, we had makeout parties, and that's gross. It's so gross to have a basement full of teenagers on old couches that your parents innately had sex on, making out and dry humping in your basement next to each other. That's gross. That's why all basements spell bad. Spell bad. That's how stuffy my nose is that I say completely different words. Neo Star. I loved Cats the musical as a kid. I feel like every 5 seconds on TV, the goddamn Cats musical. Cats on Broadway. Maybe that was just a Northeast thing. Every other commercial in 1992 was come see Cats on Broadway. And it was crazy. It was a crazy breaking the fourth wall experience because grown-ups dressed like cats would be on you. I don't know that that would be allowed today, but it's also still happening today off Broadway. So now you have like community theater people who are just like everyone's cousin dressing up like cats, and you know the makeup and the costumes aren't as good as the Broadway ones. So like shoddy cats crawling on you, and they're like genital cats or whatever the... Never ended up seeing it. They should combine every musical from the 90s and just make it one thing. I think that's what Into the Woods was supposed to be. Mr. Dougie Weasel, Gatorade. And one time I was so excited to get a Gatorade, but it was when Gatorade first came out, and it was in glass bottles, and I dropped a glass bottle of Gatorade in Wawa, and the whole floor turned so extreme. It looked like somebody washed the tiles with highlighter. Then we headbanged out of there and we surfed out. Justine Johnson, I watched a ton of Veggie Tales. Try explaining that love to anyone who isn't Christian or homeschooled. Was that the one where the broccoli hung out with celery stalk? That's so weird. How do we get kids to eat vegetables? Well, you make them talk. And you make the vegetables, teach the kids lessons, and then they'll want to eat them and poop them out. Weird logic. Thank you so much for participating in that. If you want to talk to me on Twitter or whatever, it's at Mike Falzone. Hit me up on the community page on my YouTube thing all the time. Always checking that, and that's a fun way to get feedback and to get you guys involved in these videos and stuff like that. You're going to see a bunch of names pop up on the screen. These people are sponsors of the channel, and I appreciate them so much because they help me do cooler things with these videos. For example, the thumbnail for this video was made by my boy Tom Bosco. I could toss him a couple bucks to do stuff like that because of these people on the screen right now. These people pay $5 a month and they get 5 extra things, some music to use in their videos and stuff like that. So it's good. It's a fun thing that we have going on here. Doing stand-up all the time, almost every day this month. If you would like to come see me, if you're in the Los Angeles area, but I'm also traveling a lot this year. So if you have someplace you want me to go, let me know. People have been telling local comedy clubs about me, and local comedy clubs have been begrudgingly hitting me up because of it. And that's good shit. So go on MikeFalzone.com to see where I'm going to be stand-up wise. DFTBA to get any kind of shirts. We had that trash bag sale where it was 4 or 5 items in a bag. We sold it for $10 to kind of clear all the inventory, and you guys bought so many of them. Thank you so much, and that will kind of give us a bunch of money to make some new stuff. So real excited about that. If you have any things that you would like to wear on a t-shirt or on a pin, I have some ideas, but I would love to hear your ideas and give those to me wherever. And thank you so much. This show comes out every Tuesday. All right, man. Have a great day. I'll see you at the end of the week. Peace.